Because you're not finna have the feds coming up to my house thinking that this is some sort of an operation. You got to go. That is a liability. This man don't like you. You might as well be in jail. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic of today's video is people getting kicked out of their spaces. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go ahead and start with the first story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my husband and stepson out? I, 40 female, and my husband, 42 male, have 5 children between us. His biological son, 17 male, has been smoking weed, vaping, ditching school, and is pretty much failing subject for around a year now. This has been a huge point of contention in our home because I have very different rules for my children. No drugs, good grades, etc. My husband thinks that we should be supportive and that he will get through it in his own time. See, that's not how you should handle that. A kid is not going to get through it. They need a little bit of direction. She said recently it has come to light that his son has been stealing money from me by the hundreds, stealing from my oldest daughter, 20 female, been making drug deals in front of my house, smoking weed with his younger sister, 14 female, and I recently found a huge bag of magic mushrooms sitting on his dresser. He didn't even attempt to hide it. Yeah, he would have to go. He would have to go. Because you're not finna have the feds coming up to my house thinking that this is some sort of an operation. Okay? You got to go. That is a liability. You and your father. Because he's basically condoning it by not correcting the behavior. Low-key, he might be in on it. Let's check his phone records. She said, at this point, I crashed out. Every time I went to my husband with something new that his son had done or stolen, he denied that it was him. He even started blaming my children. He was caught ditching school again on camera, and my husband didn't believe it and kept complaining that there was something wrong with the school because he knows he was at school that day. My money's missing? Oh, it could have been my boys, or I miscounted it. My vape is gone? I misplaced it. The more I pointed things out, the more my stepson started to hate me, and the more my husband started to hate me as well. At this point, it's me against them. Yesterday, he even called me while I was shopping to yell at me for leaving a vape out accidentally and asking me if I was trying to set up his son. Yeah, he gotta go. He gotta go. And then he keeps making excuses for his son's behavior and not trying to correct things. He gotta go. She said, I'm seen as the bad guy because I don't want drug use in my home or around my children. I'm being gaslit over and over again, never being believed or protected by my husband in any way. And what's even crazier is that my stepson has admitted to all of it. The stealing, ditching, lying, and my husband still doesn't trust a thing I'm telling him in regards to his son. After the whole mushroom incident, I put my foot down and said enough is enough. I told my husband that him and his son have to move out. I can't take the stress of being unheard and disrespected anymore. I'm walking on eggshells in my own home because of a 17-year-old child. They think I'm the problem. He's getting a small studio apartment for them, and his daughter chose to stay with me. He is very upset and wants me to just tough it out until his son is 18 and 8 months. I refused. He makes way less money than I do, and while I will take on more financial burden keeping the house and his child, I am fully capable of supporting myself. He, on the other hand, will struggle even in a studio. I am refusing to give him any financial help because in my mind, he refused to show me any consideration or respect, and he needs to understand what it's like on his own for a while. The plan is for him to come back after my stepson has graduated and can move home with his mother. But now, I don't know if I even want him to come home at all. Am I the a-hole for kicking my husband and stepson out? Girl, not the a-hole. And don't get back with that man, because marriage is supposed to be a partnership. If he is willfully turning a blind eye to his son's troubling behavior and then also making you out to be the enemy, saying that you left your vape out on purpose to try to set his son up, what kind of What? Nah, he can stay at that studio alone for the rest of his God-forsaken life, for all I care. Okay? Divorce him. I mean, unless he's willing to actually like show some improvements, go to therapy or something like that, but it doesn't seem like it. And for some reason, he just is unwilling to give his son consequences and correct his behavior. He, in his mind, thinks like, oh, when he turns 18, like it'll be fine. Like he'll be back at his mother's. I won't even have to deal with it anymore. But that is untrue. The way that he is raising this young man up is going to give him problems, going to give them both problems for the rest of both of their lives. So if I were you, I would just have a clean break. Someone said, not the a-hole. At this point, you're protecting yourself and your children. Furthermore, it would be a huge wake-up call having gone through all of this with your husband and stepson. I wouldn't want him to come back either from the basic lack of respect. Someone said the kid may turn 18 in 8 months, but he will always be dad's son. And apparently daddy's little guy can do no wrong. By the time dad gets a handle on what's going on with his kid, he'll be a full-blown addict if he isn't already. My ex-husband was the same way with his youngest. He co-signed every bit of his crap, so much so that it eventually crippled him. He's now 48 and still lives at home with daddy. Oh, also, when I was on my way out, he admitted that I was right all along. By then, it was too little too late. That's what I'm saying. Like, he thinks that magically, all of a sudden, when the kid is 18, all the problems will go away. But that is not true. They're only going to get worse because then he's going to be a legal adult. The things that he's doing, the crimes he is committing, will be able to be charged more strictly. And just in general, like, he's going to feel like you can't tell him nothing because, oh, I'm a man now. It's going to be a mess. If he doesn't get a handle on it now, I mean, honestly, at this point, it's too late. The kid is 17. He knows he's going to be 18. Like, it's too late to even try. But he did this to himself. Someone said, heck no. The daughter is staying with you. You're not the problem. Facts. Someone else, not the a-hole. Your husband is doing his son a huge disservice by not upholding any boundaries and not showing him that for every action there are consequences. I give your husband a month before he comes crawling back asking for you to reconsider your position. The question is, will you still want him then? OP, I'm not saying divorce is the only option, but geez, I'd have a hard time taking back someone who didn't have the strength to protect their spouse or other children from his son's actions. That's what I'm saying. It's not looking good for the future of the relationship. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I don't want to move back in after her husband kicked me out for how I feel about him and my half-sister? I, 17 female, was kicked out of my mom and her husband's house 8 months ago when I was still 16. Honestly, I went more willingly than mom liked, but I didn't want to stay after everything went down like it did. My mom was upset and she insisted on us doing therapy ever since, and now she wants me back and I don't want to go back. Okay, so things went down like they did because my mom read my journal. She told me she was concerned about certain behaviors or lack of behaviors and wanted to see what my feelings actually were because she didn't think I'd be honest with her if she asked. That's a huge violation of privacy that happened to me once when I was young, and I wouldn't say it scarred me for life. I will say I do write in journals, but it took me a long time to start writing in journals again. And even now when I do write in journals, I give people like code names and stuff, and or I'll just do like electronic journals that I can have like password protected. And also the information that I wrote was weaponized against me, and I ended up being the villain. It was a mess. It was a mess. Don't read y'all kids' journals, or if you do, just keep it to yourself. Okay? Don't let them know that you read it, because I'm telling you, they will never trust you again. Let's continue. Opie said, she told me her biggest worry was how distant I was with my half-sister, who was 3 at the time, but turned 4 since I moved out. She said, I typically adore kids, and she thought I would be an adoring big sister to her, but she felt like I only showed her basic kindness as a kid and not actual family kindness and closeness, and she used me and my brother, 20 male, and our relationship as an example. She told me it hurt to see me right that I didn't love my half-sister and I treated her kindly, not because I cared, but because I was just trying not to be a jerk. She said she didn't understand that and didn't like me feeling that way. Okay, but like, what can you do about that? At least you're not being mean to the little girl, but you can't force somebody to see a stranger in their home as their sibling. And if you try to force it, that's just going to make it not happen more. You kind of just have to let it happen naturally and just give it some time. But she trying to force a relationship that's not there. Opie said mom was almost begging me to tell her I didn't feel that way. She kept asking me to explain my feelings and trying to find anything in what I said that would prove I love and truly cared about my half-sister as family. Then she brought up the stuff I wrote about her husband and how he wasn't my dad, how I didn't really like him and how I didn't consider him my family, and I tolerated him for my mom because she loved him. She also brought up a part where I wrote that I thought he was an a-hole for insisting I miss a paternal family member's wedding because it was his only day off and he wanted a family day. That is being an a-hole. You have multiple days off during the year. You don't have multiple weddings during the year. She said, mom asked me, was it really such a big deal to me? And I said it was because he interrupted time with my family. She was like, but we're a family. And I said, she's my family, and technically my half-sister is, but he's just the guy she's married to. I mean, they got married when she was already preteen, about to be a teenager and or early teenage years. So I hate when things like this happen. You know, people meet a new partner, they get married and whatever, and they expect their older children to just automatically accept their new partner just like they did. It don't work like that. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. And I mean, sometimes you got to give it time and it ends up working out, but sometimes it just never works out. And that's just how it is. You can't force relationships out here. Opie said her husband walked in at that point and he went nuts. And he said he had listened to us the whole time and he wanted me out of his house. That if he wasn't my father figure and he was just some guy and his daughter wasn't good enough for me, then I could leave. My mom told him to stop and I wasn't leaving, but he said I was, that I could go be with the family I actually want since I didn't even want to spend one day with him over them. See, that's a red flag. She said mom started fighting with him while I texted my grandpa to pick me up and I packed up my stuff. I left anything my mom and or her husband bought for me so he couldn't say I would take his money but not give him the title of family. And the way that he reacted in that situation, to me, is a good indication of why OP does not F with him. Because instead of trying to get to the root of the problem, trying to say, okay, look, I hear how you feel, you know, is there anything that I can do to try to make this better? Or just try to like evaluate the situation to try and find a solution, is no. If you don't like me, you can get out. All right. That's all you had to say, buddy. She said, my mom always said she wanted me back and tried to get me back, but now she's like, we've been in therapy for a while. She can find a way to help us all bond and we should all be a family under one roof again. The therapist asked her, was she making me come back? And she said she wanted me to come back willingly. And that's when I told her I don't want to move back in with them. I said I'm happier staying with my grandparents and seeing her when we can. She told me it's not how we become a family though, and she cried. She said she really thought I would become more open to trying because I'd miss them so much. Well, you mess around and found out, mama. We can't always get what we want. Someone said, oh, come on. Your mother knew all of that already. That's why she read your diary. Her husband has zero authority over you, so it was her that denied you the chance to go to the family wedding you wanted to go to because he didn't want you to go because he is trying to replace your father and you aren't allowing him the chance. Has your father passed away? Stay with your grandparents and you should prepare for a future where her husband says she's not allowed to see or speak to you anymore and she chooses him. Opie responded, yes, my dad died when I was younger. Another person, do you get benefits from your dad's death? I'm asking because if so, hopefully you have your own bank account and your mom isn't taking it. Opie responded, my mom got them. They were never put in an account for me. They were spent on me and my brother for clothes, food, and stuff. Someone else, this is a prime example why I don't trust leaving or writing a diary. You never know who will get their hands on it. Can't trust anyone, even your own family. If the Harriet the Spy movie taught me anything, never leave a paper trail. And that is one thing I learned. Someone else, not the a-hole, your mom has utterly failed as a parent by putting this man and your half-sister before you. Your mom needs to see how allowing you to be kicked out by him was an incredible betrayal. She also royally messed up by reading your own private journal and demanding you guys discuss it. Your private thoughts sound reasonable, and it sounds like you are causing no issues there. You are entitled to your privacy. Protect your peace. Stay in an environment that is healthy for you. It is sad, but I think you are making the best decision for yourself. I'm sorry you're going through this so young. Wishing you the best. Opie responded, my mom wanted and still wants everyone to love everyone and be one happy family. She's pushed my brother in a similar way because he keeps in touch with her, but hasn't seen her husband or our half-sister in over 2 years. To her, it's tragic that I don't love my half-sister, and I don't want to be the best big sister ever to her. I think even me saying half-sister bothers her. I mean, it is what it is. Like, that's just, she's gonna have to get over it. Because again, her trying to push the issue so much is literally going to do the opposite effect. She just has to let it happen naturally. And if it doesn't, that's just how it is. It's just not going to happen naturally. And there's no update currently. So we'll go ahead and go to the next story. Am I the a-hole for forcefully moving into my boyfriend's gaming room? My boyfriend and I moved in together at the beginning of 2020, i.e. right before the pandemic started. We both have desk jobs, so we've both been working from home for over a year now. Initially, both of our desks were set up in the living room, and we had to deal with each other's work calls all the time. It was a nightmare. I asked him if he could move his desk into the spare room, which is where his gaming setup is. But he said that he didn't want to work in the same place he goes to relax, so I moved my desk into our bedroom instead. Ever since I moved into the bedroom, my boyfriend has become very particular about me being in the living room during work hours. He acts like it's his office. I ate my lunch in there a few times, but our lunch times are different, and he said that I was distracting him from work, so I started eating lunch in the bedroom instead. I've been doing this for about 10 months now. Okay, wait. So he has the spare room for gaming, and he also has the living room for working, and he also has the bedroom for sleeping. So he's able to have all of his areas sequestered. You, on the other hand, have the bedroom for sleeping, the bedroom for working, and I'm assuming the bedroom for lunch breaks as well. You really only have, during the work hours, one area in the house that you have free reign over, while he has 3. That's not fair. She said, last week I tried to sit down and speak to him about how awful it is to spend 18 hours of my day in one room. He was sympathetic, but also told me he couldn't do anything about it. You can move your office into your game room. If she has to work in the same place that she goes to relax and or sleep, then you can also make the sacrifice and work in the same place that you go to relax, which is the game room. How is what's not clicking, Steven? She said, I asked him again to move into the spare room or at least let me eat lunch in the living room, and he refused to do either. So I asked him if we could maybe swap desks, seeing as I wouldn't have an issue with him eating lunch in the living room while I was working. That's a good compromise. She said he literally started laughing at me and told me that I was crazy if I thought that I was guilting him into swapping desks. This man don't like you, for real. This man don't like you. Don't marry him. He's not even willing to compromise a simple workspace so it could be a little bit more equitable in the relationship. She said, the next morning I brought my work laptop into his gaming room and unplugged his entire setup. Tower, monitors, speakers, keyboard, everything. I started working from there instead. He was oblivious until his first bathroom break of the morning when he spotted what I had done and started freaking out. He threatened me with legal action if anything was broken and told me that I was an immature, passive-aggressive a-hole. I said that I would be working from there from now on. Threatening your fiance with legal action simply for unplugging the gaming console and choosing to work at that desk for the day. As I said, this man don't like you for real, because that is crazy. She said at the moment, he's not speaking to me. The more I think about it, the more I wonder if maybe it was an immature way to handle the situation, but I feel like I'm at the end of my rope and I can't keep spending all day in the same room. Obviously not the a-hole. To expect someone to spend the majority of their day and also the majority of their night, because that's where they're going to sleep, in the same room over 75% of your day. What is 18 divided by 24? I'm pretty sure that's 75. It is 75. My math is impeccable. But to spend 75% of your day in one room, you might as well be in jail. And the fact that he's not willing to budge and compromise, someone commented, info, why unplug everything? OP responded, the room is tiny and the only thing in it is the desk with his gaming setup on it. In order to use his desk without damaging anything, I had to remove pretty much everything from it. Also, nothing was damaged. Everything was perfectly fine when he checked it later. Another comment, red flags. This isn't how normal adults act. This is not a healthy way to treat one's partner, not the a-hole, obviously. Someone else, seriously, are you happy with this guy? He doesn't seem to care much for your feelings or comfort, putting himself first every time. Is this how you want to live your life? Not the a-hole. No, I'm saying, like, this man doesn't like you, girl. OP responded, honestly, the responses to this post have given me a lot to think about. Lockdown is ending pretty soon in our country. Maybe it's time to think about moving out. And then she has a couple of edits. Edit 1, sorry, just to clarify, when I asked my boyfriend to move his desk into the gaming room, I meant his work setup, not his physical desk. The spare room would be too small for his physical desk. Edit 2, hi everyone, I'm just about to go to bed for the night. I wanted to give this post a quick update. I'm overwhelmed by all of the messages of support. Thank you so much to everyone who commented. A few people have expressed concern over my safety. I promise I'm okay. I actually left the apartment tonight to give my boyfriend some space, and I'm staying at my brother's place. I'll probably go back tomorrow evening, but I am considering ending the relationship, as you should. My brother thinks that I should, and he said that I can stay with him if I want to move out. Thank you all again for your feedback and support. And then 2 days later, there was an update. Hello, I know that a few people have followed this account, so I wanted to say that I posted another update on the original post. One last edit for the road. Again, thank you so much to everyone who took the time to read this post, and also for all of the awards. It's very kind of you. I just wanted to say that my boyfriend and I have amicably agreed to split up and move on. Not just over this situation, though it definitely shed some light on other issues in our relationship. I'm moving in with my brother temporarily until I can find a new place of my own. Things feel a bit crap right now, but I know they'll get better with time. Thanks again for all the love. I'm not surprised that there are other issues within their relationship, because she said this wasn't the only thing. That's the last story. Let's go ahead and go to the palate cleanser. Oh, this video was so cute. I saw this on Instagram. I'm guessing it's this boy who is a singer. He's now 9 years old, but this is an old video of him when he was 3. And he's so cute. He's like singing on some stairs. It looks like probably at his family home or something. The text on screen says, early years of Lucciano, age 3. And then the caption says, age 3, music and rhythm in the veins. But I thought this was so cute. He's just so cute.
Cause I wanna stop. Thank you, baby. Cause I wanna stop. Thank you, baby. Do. How sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by my love for you. Do, 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 you.
That is too freaking cute. Because if you're not watching, he's like doing these like, what would you call the dance moves? He's not like dancing. He's like dancing like show tunes kind of dancing like you would hear, like you would see at like a Las Vegas show where someone from like the 80s is like doing a big band. I don't know how to explain it, like a big band swing show, or I don't know how to explain it. But his dance moves are like so like show tunes kind of dance moves. And then he's all snapping and clapping. It's just so cute. And his little accent. Thank you, baby. Anyways, thank you, little enzymes, for watching. I will see you in the next video.